Marvel and DC never played fair, and the proof is written all over their characters. Behind the flashy costumes and epic powers, some heroes looked ripped straight from the other side, almost like reflections in a mirror. Fans have whispered it for decades, pointing to costumes, names, even powers that feel way too familiar. Were these coincidences, or outright copies hiding in plain sight? And which Marvel heroes weren't original at all, but straight-up DC copycats? Here are 10 Marvel Heroes fans call DC copycats. At number 10 is Deadpool. In 1991, Marvel introduced a new character in New Mutants issue 98, a masked mercenary named Deadpool. Fans instantly noticed that he looked almost exactly like DC's Deathstroke, who had been around since 1980. The similarities were impossible to miss. Both were expert assassins, both carried swords and guns, and both wore nearly identical full-face masks. The connection was not an accident. Deadpool's creators, writer Fabian Nicieza and artist Rob Liefeld, leaned into the resemblance. They even gave him the name Wade Wilson, a direct copycat of Deathstroke's real name, Slade Wilson. At first, many fans noted Deadpool mirrored DC's Deathstroke, sparking debate about copying rivals. But as time passed, Deadpool's personality made him different. Where Deathstroke was serious and calculated, Deadpool cracked jokes, broke the fourth wall, and turned every fight into chaos. Both remain central characters in their universes, and their linked origins are firmly documented in comic book history. At number 9 is Thanos. In 1973, Marvel unveiled Thanos in Iron Man issue 55, a towering tyrant from Saturn's Moon Titan. Fans who had followed DC a few years earlier recognized the resemblance to Darkseid, who had first appeared in 1970. Both were immense figures, with granite chins, brooding eyes, and a taste for heavy armor and helmets. Each ruled through fear and dreamed of ultimate power. The connection was confirmed by creator Jim Starlin, who recalled that editor Roy Thomas advised him to make the character look more like one of Kirby's new gods, saying if he was going to borrow, he should borrow from Darkseid. Thanos became a copycat of DC's Lord of Apocalypse, but with Marvel's own spin. Darkseid sought to dominate all life with the anti-life equation, while Thanos pursued the Infinity Gems to serve his obsession with death. Their similarities fueled decades of comparisons, but the publication order was clear. Darkseid came first, and Thanos' creation carried the mark of that influence. At number 8 is Doctor Strange. In 1940, DC introduced Dr. Fate in More Fun Comics issue 55. Kent Nelson uncovered the tomb of Nabu, was trained in sorcery, and put on the Helmet of Fate, making him one of DC's earliest mystical heroes. 2 decades later, in 1963, Marvel revealed Doctor Strange in Strange Tales number 110. Stephen Strange, once a surgeon, turned to the mystic arts and rose to become Sorcerer Supreme. Fans quickly noticed the overlap. Both characters relied on ancient relics, both fought supernatural enemies, and both became the top sorcerer of their universe. Dr. Fate's Tower of Fate and glowing Ankhs drew easy comparisons to Strange's Sanctum Sanctorum and Eye of Agamotto. Each mixed superhero adventure with occult danger, giving readers stories unlike anything else. But the timeline is clear. Fate's stories came more than 20 years earlier, and Strange's debut followed a trail DC had already marked. Fate was first, Strange came later, shaped by that legacy. At number 7 is Sentry. In 1938, DC introduced Superman in Action Comics issue 1, a hero who became the foundation of modern comics. Decades later, in 2000, Marvel revealed the Sentry, Robert Reynolds, a character designed to resemble a long-lost Silver Age hero, but in truth created as their own version of Superman. The similarities were clear. Both wore flowing capes, both possessed immeasurable strength, both could fly, and each carried a symbol beginning with the letter S. The story of their origins showed sharp contrasts. Superman was the last son of Krypton raised by human parents, while the Sentry was an ordinary man transformed by a powerful serum. Each became the strongest protector of their universe, but with one crucial difference. Superman represented unwavering hope, while the Sentry battled his darker half, known as the Void. Readers immediately noticed the similarities. Superman came first, and the Sentry's creation carried the undeniable imprint of DC's most famous hero. At number 6 is Daredevil. In 1939, Batman debuted in Detective Comics issue 27 as a dark vigilante stalking Gotham's alleys. 25 years later, in 1964, Marvel introduced Daredevil in Daredevil issue 1, a crimson-clad hero who leapt across New York's Hell's Kitchen. Readers quickly saw the parallels. Both heroes were acrobatic fighters without superhuman strength. Both endured the murder of a parent that defined their crusade, and both prowled their cities at night to battle mobsters and crime lords. Over time, the similarities deepened. Batman faced powerful figures like Carmine Falcone and Black Mask, while Daredevil confronted the Kingpin, a crime lord who became his greatest enemy. Daredevil's relationship with Elektra, a skilled assassin torn between love and violence, echoed Batman's complicated bonds with Catwoman and Talia al Ghul. Although Daredevil's blindness and radar sense set him apart, fans often compared Marvel's Vigilante to Batman's legacy. The timeline made it clear Batman came first, and Daredevil drew constant comparisons to DC's Dark Knight. At number 5 is Wolverine. In 1964, DC's Legion of Superheroes introduced Timberwolf, first known as Lone Wolf, a fierce fighter with heightened senses, super strength, and a rugged appearance. A decade later, in 1974, Marvel revealed Wolverine in the Incredible Hulk issues 180 and 181. Readers immediately noticed the similarities. Both were animalistic brawlers, both had heightened senses, and both carried the same wild hairstyle and mutton-chop sideburns. The connection went deeper than appearance. Timberwolf's powers came from experiments by his scientist father, while Wolverine's mutant gifts were later twisted by the Weapon X program that bonded adamantium to his bones. Both stories linked their strength to human experimentation. The creative link also stood out. Artist Dave Cockrum redesigned Timberwolf in the early 1970s to look more feral, then moved to Marvel and co-created the all-new, all-different X-Men, placing Wolverine on the team with a nearly identical style. Fans were clear that Wolverine drew strong comparisons to Timberwolf, yet his popularity quickly outshined the original. At number 4 is Vision. In August 1968, DC released Justice League of America issue 64, introducing Red Tornado, a crimson android created by the villain T.O. Morrow to infiltrate the Justice Society. Just 2 months later, in October 1968, Marvel unveiled the Vision in the Avengers issue 57, a red-skinned android built by Ultron to infiltrate the Avengers. Both were designed as weapons. Both turned against their creators, and both chose to stand with the heroes. The similarities were undeniable. Each struggled with identity, questioning what it meant to be alive. Red Tornado adopted the human name John Smith in his attempt to blend in, while Vision pursued humanity by forming a deep relationship with the Scarlet Witch. Their designs also shared clear similarities, with flowing capes and bold red looks that marked them as outsiders. The timing and resemblance led fans to compare Vision with DC's android hero. Red Tornado came first, and Vision's debut carried that influence. 2 androids with red skin were just the start. At number 3 is Quicksilver. In 1940, DC introduced Jay Garrick as the first Flash in Flash Comics issue 1. 16 years later, Barry Allen carried the mantle in Showcase issue 4, relaunching the hero and starting the Silver Age of comics. By the time Marvel unveiled Quicksilver in X-Men issue 4 in 1964, the speedster archetype was already firmly established by DC. Fans immediately drew the comparison. Both heroes could sprint at unimaginable speeds, dodge bullets with ease, and create whirlwinds by running in circles. Even their symbols reflected the same theme. The Flash bore a lightning bolt across his chest, while Quicksilver later adopted a lightning streak design on his suit, along with his trademark shock of white hair. Their differences lie in personality. Barry Allen was earnest and steady, while Pietro Maximoff was impatient and abrasive, introduced as a conflicted villain before becoming an Avenger.